You know, to quote Gen Alpha, that was a nothing burger. So I just watched Kane Parsons' Backrooms 2026, which is essentially a internet creepypasta that has spawned from the depths of 4chan that has been picked up and really developed by this new young filmmaker, Kane Parsons, who's done a lot of works over the years making the Backrooms and its lore and what it is. It stars Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renate Reinsve, who do an amazing job at kind of getting across what's going on. Now, I am not a big fan of Backrooms content or anything to do with it. It's kind of not interested me. I respect what Kane Parsons has done to kind of get the Backrooms into the culture, into internet lore like it has been, and now it's become this kind of multifaceted media slop. And as much as I wanted to like this movie again because Kane Parsons, a 19-year-old who's essentially been making Backrooms content for years and years, is stepping up to the forefront to make a feature film picked up by A24. That's pretty cool. And I wanted to like it, but in the back of my brain, the movie really had to do something big, especially because I was going into it with a dislike for Backrooms content in general. Even with that, there are some things I like about this film. As much as I don't think it works and really think it's just a suspense slop filled thriller, I think Chiwetel and Renate do a really, really great job in these roles. The way that they convey the dread of this situation and also the curiosity of what is this random assortment of memory rooms that have been placed in this weird environment. They get that across really well. And that takes a lot of skill for a director to be able to allow and convey what is going on to the actors, because the Backrooms in itself is a pretty weird concept to wrap your head around, and to be able to give this level of performance in a essentially alien setting is quite amazing. I think that it does well to provide an emotional hook because really the Backrooms itself doesn't have any emotional through line. It's just kind of there to be spooky and scary, which we'll get into more later. But I think that the way that they introduce an emotional hook, like Chiwetel's character is this down on his luck, very angry at the world person who thinks that nothing in his life that has gone wrong is his fault. So that kind of dichotomy between what the Backrooms is presenting and the environment that it is for him, and also his relationship with his therapist, is an interesting one. I still don't think that the characters themselves grabbed me because I don't think the writing is quite up to snuff or there, at least enough to capture me as much as the performances. I also have to commend the environmental design, like the way that the Backrooms is set out and how it looks is pretty chilling and also very inventive, even though it's very similar in its palette and the way it is presented. It always has this unnerving feeling, and there's not really much going on in these rooms a lot of the time, but the placement and the way that things kind of uncannily melt from the roofs or the floors or meld into the structure. And I know it might seem like I'm pretty excited about this movie, but I really think this is a full on potential man movie. Because as much potential as this has, and as much potential as Kane Parsons is injecting into Backrooms, it falls flat in pretty much every major area of what I enjoy in a film. I do think this film is just suspense slop. I know that it's gotten kind of praise from a lot of different people for being a good slow buildup of tension. However, I don't think any of this buildup is earned. It's just kind of these, again, these shallow environments that present horror. And I will give it this. The camera is very active in committing to the scares and the horror. Again, it doesn't feel like the suspense is earned because it's just a bunch of slow moving sequences until there's something random and wacky and spooky that happens. And that's the thing. All of the scares in this movie just revolve around, oh, look at this spooky little place that we've just found ourselves in. Oh, so random. And it's a lot of random jumps. And that doesn't really cut it for me. I do enjoy when horror is more inventive about how it is scaring you. The best sequence in this movie is actually in the middle point when there's this big, I guess, camcorder found footage sequence. And there's a lot of inventive stuff and scares that go into that. And I was hoping for more of that, especially because the final maybe 45 to 50 minutes of this movie really loses the tension that that middle bit presented. And it kind of takes, that middle being so good kind of takes away from the rest of the film, because then you're just thinking, well, how come the rest of it wasn't as inventive and exciting as this one sequence was? The rest of it is, again, just kind of suspense slop. It's random things happening or very slow movements, and then, ooh, spooky moment or random thing happening just to scare you. It's not a very fulfilling fright. And I don't actually think that this movie is a nothing burger. I know I kind of said that before just as a little like hook, but I don't think this movie is that. However, that's the problem with Backrooms content in general. If you give an explanation to what Backrooms is or what it is trying to achieve, it kind of takes away from Backrooms as a concept. If you know about it, that's it. What's the point then? I think that the explanation that is given in here leaves enough room for suspense, but it also kind of takes away from the illusion of Backrooms as a concept. And again, that's the problem, because Backrooms is so steeped in the mysterious and vagueness of what it is. As soon as you try and inject more life into it or give more explanation to it, the whole concept kind of falls apart because you can't really go anywhere with it. It is what it is, and I guess it's a vessel for scares and suspense, but it doesn't do anything with that. Makes it an enjoyable and fascinating watch. The most fascinating part of this movie is how it came to be and Kane Parsons as a filmmaker. And that's what kept me engaged, but it's also to its detriment. I didn't really like Backrooms. I know I kind of spoke more about what the movie is rather than give an actual review, but again, it's a very potential man. However, it falls flat in its execution, and it just didn't really grab me, unfortunately. I really want to like this one. Unfortunately, I didn't. I'm going to give it this rating here, and that'll be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you can, go check out some of my other videos. I've been uploading a little bit less recently because I just moved into a new place trying to get kind of settled in, but it really helps. And if you want to see more, it really helps if you guys watch that other content, give it like, share around. That'd be amazing. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next one.